What's going on, everybody? The original Mako back with some more Gunfire Reborn content, and it is update day, so obviously we're going to have more content, and the next thing we are doing is showing off the new hero, because I think that was the next, after the patch notes, the most important thing we could go through. So I don't quite have all of these skill trees unlocked. The Resilient Shield is the last one I need, which, mind you, honestly seems like one of the best things on this character. I mean, recharge shield immediately after killing an enemy and it won't be interrupted for 3 seconds is very, 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 very good. But we'll talk about that later. I'm just going to go through each of these and go through the Ascensions real quick and then play through the first stage so we can kind of show her off and show the different kind of moves and whatnot that she has. Not going to be a full run, and I'm not going to be doing... This isn't the tips and tricks video. I will do a tips and tricks video for the new character after I've had some more time to play with her and figure out the best type of synergies and whatnot. So let's just go ahead and hop into the the skill trees here. So Blade and Heart, plus 5% swords out damage for every Blade Heart stack that you have. Just additional damage for your ult for every stack you have. Pretty simple. For each enemy you kill, plus 10% movement speed for up to 8 seconds. So you can get up to 5 stacks of that. Increased movement speed is never a bad thing, obviously. So pretty good there. Restore 1 use for every 5 enemies marked by Fatal Bloom. So this is for your Q. As you can see over here, the Q is Fatal Bloom. This is really good. When I'm playing, I've done 4 or 5 runs with the new character, and I have yet to run out of Fatal Blooms. So honestly, seems like a really good thing to have. And then Superior Magazine, reload speed and mag capacity are increased. Real good. And then we talked about Resilient Shield. Probably the best thing that this character has in terms of the skill tree, for sure. So you're going to want to try to get that as soon as possible. 75 health, which is tied for the lowest base health. 105 shield, though, which is a fairly high amount of shield. In fact, it's higher than all 3 of the other heroes that have shields. So 180 total base stats. We can compare that to the Tiger, which has 160, the Bird, which has 230, which is still just silly, the Cat, which has 180, and the Bear, which has 210. So it's tied with the Cat, basically just the reverse of the Cat in terms of health and shield. So pretty sustainable, especially with the Resilient Shield. That makes this character super sustainable. So no big issues there. Movement speed at 5.2. It's tied with the bear, or tied with the dog. Sorry, it's not a bear. Tied with the dog. A little bit more than the Cat, a little bit less than the Bird and the Tiger. So just average. But once again, she has this to increase her movement speed. So overall attributes are fairly typical. Swords out is the ultimate. Unsheath multiple swords, each dealing 300 damage. The number of flying swords is determined by the stacks of Blade Heart. Each stack can consume or can summon 3 flying swords. For every 15 ammo consumed, you get a stack of Blade Heart, and up to 6 stacks base maximum. So obviously this last part here is pretty important because basically you want to be using weapons that have a high fire rate to give you more Blade Heart stacks, which will then increase the number of swords that you throw out, making this ultimate significantly better. And it recharges almost instantly. So as soon as you get up to 6 stacks of Blade Heart again, you could fire it off. I mean, you can fire it with 1 stack, 2 stacks, it doesn't matter. But the more stacks you have, the better it is. So if you can get those stacks back quick and just keep rapid firing the ultimate, really fun and very good, mind you. And then Fatal Bloom, the Q. Summon petals in front that explode outwards, marking all enemies within 6 meters and dealing 600 damage. The mark lasts for 6 seconds, and it deals damage to a marked enemy again every time you hit it 12 times. So once again, just reinforcing the fact that you want to be using a rapid fire weapon, because if you have an enemy marked, you have 6 seconds to hit it at least 12 times, and then it'll do additional damage. Really good for bosses, single target removal, stuff like that. Not quite as good for AoE stuff. This character in general is not quite as good for AoE stuff, but still not too shabby and does really good at single target removal. So you want to be using fast firing weapons. That's pretty obvious, but let's go ahead and look at the Ascensions here. So we have the three different tiers. Raging Bloom to enhance that Fatal Bloom, the Q. Mainstay Weapon enhances the combat prowess, and then Blade Rain to enhance the ultimate or the blade manipulation. I've had a chance to mess around with a lot of these, not all of them yet, so I can't give too in-depth detail, but like I said, that's what the tips and tricks video will be, so we'll just go through them. I'm just going to read the base for each one. 100% Fatal Bloom base damage, pretty simple. Reduce enemies' movement speed by 30% and the damage they deal by 20% when the enemy is marked by Fatal Bloom. It's kind of like a Hex Smoke, similar to Hex Smoke for this character. Very, very good. I've used this a lot, and making the enemies move slower and do less damage is really, really good. When hitting an enemy that is marked by Fatal Bloom with a weapon, you deal 100% weapon damage to up to 2 other marked enemies. So if you mark 3 enemies and then you shoot and hit one of them, it'll deal damage to the other 2 as well. Just a way to kind of help that AoE damage a little bit. No escape. Enemies marked by Fatal Bloom take plus 20% damage, and the Flying Sword summon will home in on the marked enemies. So a way to kind of control your swords a little bit more, so they're not just flying straight in front of you. They'll home on the enemies you want, and enemies will take an additional 20% damage. Combine that with this, and it's essentially, these two are a 1-2 combo that's just a better version of Hex Smoke. So really, really good stuff there. Each time Fatal Bloom marks an enemy, increase weapon damage and skill damage by 8% for 8 seconds. So just a way to increase your damage. Pretty significant buff, because you're probably going to be marking unmarked enemies a good amount, and can probably keep this procced for most of the room every time you're in a new room. So pretty good Ascension there. After marking an enemy, summon flying swords that are equal to 100% of the current stacks. Each flying sword then homes in on a random enemy. So if you're holding like 6 Blade Heart stacks and you do this, really, really good. But even if you're only holding 1 or 2 or 3, whatever it is, you're still going to do just a bunch of extra damage with this. So definitely worth it. A lot of really good Ascensions to help with the Fatal Bloom over here. Mainstay Weapon. When dealing damage to an enemy, there's a 10% chance to summon a flying sword to hit the same enemy. Similar to like Lightning from Void from the last hero. I like it. It's good. A way to deal extra damage, and a way to show off the animation of the sword, the swords even more. Sword Enthusiast, for every flying sword summon, increase your damage and skill damage by 1.5% for 8 seconds. Another way to increase your damage temporarily. And with 6 and or more stacks, you're going to be summoning a lot of swords. So that's pretty nice, but it also works with Empathy with Sword. So every time this procs, the Sword Enthusiast will also proc. So definitely, if you combine those two, you could keep that damage buff for a long time. Warlike Blade. For every 10 ammo consumed for the next 3 seconds, increase your rate of fire and accuracy, and there's a 5% chance to recover ammo consumed when firing. Really, really, really good. Obviously, you want to have a high rate of fire, so any way to increase your rate of fire is really nice, and with that built into this character's kit, it does make a lot of sense. And you have a chance to recover some ammo when firing for 3 seconds, which is obviously really nice. You don't have to reload and slow down that rate of fire. But this works really, really well with something like Advanced Depot, like Advanced Depot Scalpel, Advanced Depot Demon Lore, any high rate of fire weapons, because you're going to never have to reload, so you're going to have this procced a lot, which means you're going to have not necessarily a base increase, but a significant amount of time that you're going to have 10% rate of fire and accuracy. So really nice stuff from that. If you have Advanced Depot especially, I would recommend going for this, but yeah, really good Ascension. And then for every stack of Blade Heart you own, increase weapon damage and skill damage by 8%. Another way to just increase damage. You could try to get Swordsman and then just hold your Blade Heart stacks and not use their ult and just go for a pure damage build, but it just gives you an increase of damage at pretty much all times, so nothing wrong with that. For every sword summon, increase your max shield by 2 for 6 seconds, and you recover 2 shield. I've messed around with this once, and it was okay at tier 1. I'm sure it gets infinitely better at tier 2 and 3. But just a little bit of extra defense. I still think that the skill tree Resilient Shield is going to be the best way to help this character stay alive. But this is something, if you need it, if you realize you're dying pretty quick, mess around with this some more, and obviously the more swords you summon, the better this is going to be. So you could try to work that in as well. Ammo Extractor. Killing an enemy that is marked by Fatal Bloom instantly recovers 30% ammo to the mag. Most of the enemies you kill are going to be marked by Fatal Bloom if you're playing the character correctly. So, I mean, if you don't have Advanced Depot, this is really, really good. A good way to keep the weapon firing without having to reload. And then at Tier 3, killing an enemy that's marked instantly recovers all of the ammo and grants a stack of Blade Heart. So at Tier 3, this is a very, very, very good Ascension. And last tier here of the tree, or the 3 trees, the Blade Rain, enhanced blade manipulation. So each stack of Blade Heart summons an additional sword. This is how you get more swords. Essentially doubles the amount of swords, because every stack you're going to summon 1 more sword than usual. Well, actually, no. So if you have 6 stacks of Blade Heart, you're already summoning more than 6 swords. So this just gives you an additional 6 that are going to be in there, and obviously helps with a lot of these other Ascensions that require the more swords that are summoned, the better the buff is. So pretty good if you're trying to work that. Swordcraft is just increase the base damage of the swords. Amplified Sword. After hitting an enemy with Flying Sword, the inflicted enemy takes extra damage from flying swords within the second, and that effect can be stacked. So the more swords you do, once again, this is focused on single target removal. Very, very good for bosses. If the first time you hit a sword, every sword after that is going to do increased damage until your ult's over. So especially at Tier 3, it's 10%. So you could easily get plus 100, 110% damage with a little bit of help from Sword Shadow. So these two together, really good. Sword Defense, reduce damage taken while casting Sword out. And then at Tier 3, you actually can't die while using your ult, which is really interesting because you can pop the ult even if you don't have 6 stacks of Blade Storm or Blade Heart. So you could definitely use that as a get out of jail free card if you know you're about to die. Just pop it real quick and hopefully you can get some health back. But yeah, that Tier 3 is very, very useful, and you could definitely cheese some stuff with it. And then Flying Sword has a 40% chance to deal double damage, and there's an additional 20% chance to deal 3 times the damage if you hit an enemy who's marked. Like I said, most enemies you hit are going to be marked. So this is just a really good way to deal more damage. Very good for bosses. You can see a trend here. A lot of these things are very good for bosses, but yeah, a lot of fun. And I always like, you know, I've been a big fan of the dog Ascension that gives you a chance to do double damage, so I love a chance to deal double damage. So I'm going to take that more times than not. And then Luminous Heart, you can increase the base and max stack of your Blade Heart by 1, and it goes up to 3. And also at Tier 3, the ammo consumption to gain a stack is decreased. So this means you can have up to 9 Blade Heart stacks at a time, which obviously that combined with like Sword Shadow, combined with Amplified Sword, means you're basically going to maybe not one shot, I don't know, I've never tried it, but you're going to do a lot of damage to a target at a time with those 3. So my first impressions are I really like what's going on with this Blade Rain tree, and I think there's a lot of cool stuff we can do with it. But like I said, there's still a lot that I have to learn about this character. So let's just run it through, just the first stage real quick. And we'll do it in just elite mode, I suppose. Just kind of show off the abilities and kind of how they work, and show you guys that it is so hard to run out of the queue for some reason. So probably Angelic Aura would be our best option. Fires pretty quick. I'm actually going to lower that real quick. Yeah. Alright. So as you can see, the 2 next to the E down there shows you your Blade Hacks or Blade Heart stacks. So that's how you know how many Blade Heart stacks you have. That's not how many uses of your ult you have, just Blade Heart stacks. And then once it gets to 6. And there's the ult. So that's at max stacks. That's how many swords are summoned. So you can see it's a good amount. I actually wonder if I might be able to count them here in a second. But yeah, there's that. It's kind of hard to see the AoE range on the Q when you use it. I think they might change that coming up soon, just to give players an easier or a better idea of exactly how far the blade heart or the bloom is going. But let's go ahead and see if we can figure out how many swords. No, they disappear too quick, but it's a good amount of swords. Okay. Laser glove and lightning glove, both pretty good weapons for this character. As you can see, the blade heart stacks are going up real quick. Obviously, we're gonna have a video on the best weapons for the new character, as we always do. But I mean, I still have a few to try out. But the gloves are probably going to be pretty good contenders for making the top 3 for sure, just because of how fast you can get it back. And you can fire. I need to get used to it. I'm used to every other ult you can't really fire while you use it. So I need to get used to the fact that you can actually fire while using this one. Crazy how much DPS it does, honestly. And I'll be excited with Amplified Sword at tier 2 already, and we have laser gloves. This could be a really, really fun boss fight. Yeah, so as you can see, the homing on the swords would be nice because they just kind of go straight ahead. It's not like it's hard to aim them, but it's still nice to know exactly what target you're going to be hitting with them if you have that homing. So but I've been using my Q pretty often, and yeah, we just don't really run out of it. Holy cow, what just happened? I got stuck. That would have been real upsetting if I would have died right there. Speedy Pursuit, yeah. I definitely think we're going to keep the laser glove for this boss. Oh my god, we got Amplified Sword 3. That's actually crazy. But you can see the shield recharge is, you know, it's a little bit slow. So being able to recharge your shield instantly after killing an enemy is going to, I think, make this character infinitely better than she is right now for me. Oh, this should be interesting. I'll do that after this fight. See, that was pretty quick. Oh, one of the new weapons. Not going to pick that up because obviously there's going to be a completely separate video for the new weapons, but I can tell you right now, that one I've definitely been having some fun with. Damn, you're annoying. Speaking of annoying, oh, I did not want to be on the other side of oh my god, how many of these horse heads are there? I don't know if we hit him with that, so I just kind of spammed it again. Alright, look at that. It was a little bit sketchy at times, but we got through it. And then we get an additional blade stack, or blade heart stack, which means even more swords. So yeah, we'll run through this boss, and then that'll be it for this video. But also this new, I just feel the need to talk about this, etch, adding inscriptions to weapons for coins, so good. Really good addition to the game, so we love to see it. But let's see how fast we can kill Lu Wu here. We have an elemental weapon. Take that. Ammo belt, sure. Probably could, I can still upgrade it one more time, so. Alright. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and get full stacks before we go in. Just to see how good the initial burst of damage is. I want to make sure I hit every shot, though, so I'm going to... So yeah, the Blade Storm combined with my weapon did that much, and I almost have it back already. So it's definitely a really nice ult, and a lot of fun to use, and I'm sure there's going to be some pretty crazy synergies that we're going to find in these next couple weeks. And there it is. There is the showcase of the new character, Sanguine Relic. That's so good. But yeah, Warlike Blade, I'll take it. Definitely want to use a high rate of fire. A lot of really cool Ascensions to try out. Definitely has more than one way you can play it, unlike the, well, I guess the new hero last time, the Tiger, had more than one way, but one way was just infinitely better than the other. So, but this character definitely more variable in how you can play him. So a lot of different ways, and yeah, that's just the that's all it's going to be for this video. I'm not going to do the whole run, but I'll have a tips and tricks video and a video about all of the best weapons for this character coming soon. I'm going to have to mess around with her some more before we get those out. But thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate it. Check the links in the description. I should be back streaming pretty soon. I'll be back from vacation soon, so we'll definitely be streaming all the new content, but plenty more of the new videos coming at you. There's new bosses, new weapons, a new tier list, all sorts of things, the new talent system. Everything is going to be coming at you real soon, so don't forget to sub to the channel. Thank you guys. Have a wonderful rest of your day. I love each and every one of your faces, and I will catch you all in the next video.